Good afternoon to all. If I may request from the respected speakers to join us, please. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all. I'd like to welcome you to this panel discussion. As you know, Saudi Arabia will host the UN World Data Forum in November of 2026. We're glad that we launched our Road to Riyadh last month in October in Jeddah with the Statistical Forum for Universities and Statistical Association. It will be announced later this week, the whole details of many events, forums, and workshops. And all of those events will be available virtually to everybody, locally here in Saudi Arabia, in the region, and also globally. So you are invited all to learn from the discussions and also learn from the expertise that will be shared during these discussions. I'm glad today to also welcome our colleagues and really thankful for them to give us the time today to join us for this panel discussion, which will be on utilizing advanced technologies and methodologies in enhancing statistical systems and enabling sustainable development. In this panel, we will explore how national statistics offices are leveraging advanced technologies and innovative methodologies to enhance data quality, timeliness, and accessibility, in addition to strengthening trust, transparency, and ethical use of data, also to identify opportunities for collaboration and knowledge sharing among national, regional, and international partners to accelerate innovative and innovation on the road to the UN World Data Forum in 2026. If I may introduce our panelists, esteemed panelists, as you can see. So we have a number of leaders from national statistics offices globally and international organizations. Let me start by introducing Atanasov. He's the president of the National Statistical Institute in Bulgaria. Benjamin Rotten, the ambassador head of international and National Affairs Unit in Switzerland. Tang Chu Xin is the Director of Policy and Planning Division from Singapore, and Jian Hong Ruan as the Deputy Commissioner of the National Bureau of Statistics from China, and Ula Awad is the President of Palestinian Central Bureau of Statistics, and Johannes Yuteng, the Executive Head of Paris 21. So welcome to this panel. I'll try to give the floor to each panelist to answer one question in each round, at least to make it easier for everybody to follow the discussion. I'll start with a question that we discussed in our meetings because of the changing happening globally and changing, especially in technology. And we wanted to start with this topic because of the importance and the relevance that happening around us as national statistics offices. So I'll start with this question. Which strategic priorities guide your agenda to ensure your National Statistics Office remains relevant, trusted, and impactful in supporting sustainable development? Maybe I'll start from your side, and please to continue.
Thank you. Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank for the Gastad for well organized event and for invite us in as a panelist. So I'm thinking that in this fast-changing world, where we have a new technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, and so on, probably this place that we put a lot of efforts, this is the staff of our institutes. Because you know that the statistical survey is changing very rapidly. And sometimes we are not ready for this fast-changing world. Sometimes I think that when we have well-educated, with a huge experience statistician, it's not enough, because the new statistical survey is not exactly the statistical. They are interdisciplinary, because we need machine learning, we need new software and new things, and we are using new data sources. Some of them are unknown, some of them are very new for us. That's why we have to change our trainings just to be relevant to this new future.
Hello. Also from my side, thanks for the invitation for this panel. The question is very relevant. As you said before, we talked about it in the meeting. And that's the main question we're asking us all the time. And we as the Swiss Federal Statistical Office, we are the main office for data and statistics in the office, even though we know there are other offices dealing with data and statistics, that's for sure. We also can see there's less and less resources coming to official statistics, at least, to data. That's a bit another question. There's more coming. And we can see in our government, in the administration, there's a bit of fight about who gets the money. So that's why we want to transform our office that we have. I mean, we're really currently in doing that. So not everything I'm at the moment I can share, but what we will have in the future, we have like one big pillar for data. And it's important to say it's not only for data for producing official statistics, it's for all the data we have in the government, to setting standards about that. So we can reuse data. So it's a secondary use, and it's also under principle of once only. So that the people and the enterprises have to send it only once to the government, the information. The second pillar is a bit well known for official statistics. And of course, there's more around of that. I mean, that's communication, there is innovation, and we have also an AI lab in our office. So we are doing all this reorganization of our office to be ready for the future. How can we use the resources? There are less in the future, we think so, even though maybe we get more for the data management part, we don't know yet, but we have to be fit for purpose. But why are we doing a reorganization? Why are we doing this strategic? Because we want to provide good information for the people. That's the main goal of our office, to provide good information. So what we had before the UN World Data Forum in Bern, we had a road to Bern, and we had a road to Bern via Geneva, because as you know, there are many international organizations are based there, and we still continue to do that. So we still have a lot of partnerships with international organizations based on that. So that's why I want to really congratulate you that you have a road to Riyadh, and really happy to collaborate with you on that.
So it's okay. Thank you. Well, from my perspective, I fully agree with Ben and Atanas. From my side, I mean, being really a while in the NSO now, I think there's the priority is how we think of our role. Our leading role as a national statistical office in our countries in the statistics and data ecosystem, in developing and managing and of our statistics and data ecosystem in the country, on one hand, on how we can play a role in making an impact and making a change. It's not anymore our role as a national statistical offices producing statistics and data. It doesn't, I mean, it's not to that limit. It became much more beyond that limit. It is more taking the lead, taking the initiative. I mean, we discuss about the importance and how we are, until today, we are unable even to convince our decision makers and policy makers with the importance. I don't see until now it's their problem. I see it's our problem. Really, it's our problem. And that's why what I'm saying now, this is our priority. For me, the priority as a national statistical organization, relevancy is what matters. I can give a real-life example of what happened in Gaza, for example. We needed to provide statistics about the displaced people in Gaza, and the traditional methodologies and tools was unable to help us in that. So this is how we started to think of other different sources that we can, get more data on the displaced people in Gaza. And that's why we went to the mobile data sources. And this is how we try to having the traditional tools as a guide, but not as, the tools that we have to stick on. So what I'm saying, data is what matters. Modernize data sources and leave traditional frameworks of official statistics as a guiding rather than as a textbook, and staying relevant as national statistical offices. Thank you.
Thank you. The statistics of China will leverage the digital and the intelligence technologies to advance the statistical modernization. They first make the statistical fundamentals more digitalized based on various data resources. We will explore digital statistical methods, develop digital statistical technologies, and establish digital statistical infrastructure to drive the comprehensive digital transformation of the statistical work. The second, make the statistical processes more scientific. We will promote the re-engine of statistical processes, the reshaping of rules, and the expansion of functions to make statistical processes more scientific, standardized, efficient, and transparent. We will break down information silos and strengthen the centralized aggregation and effective utilization of the multi-source data. we will establish and improve the data sharing mechanism to enable a broader application of digital and intelligent technologies in statistical operations and enhance overall statistical survey capabilities. The third, make the data management more intelligent. We will enhance intelligent management across the entire spectrum of statistical data production with real-time monitoring, automated processing, interactive analysis, and visual presentation. We will work on that various data sources can complement and reinforce each other and fully explore and unleash the data value. New technologies such as AI will be further converted and applied in statistical work to effectively improve the data, improve data quality. The fourth, make the statistical governance more modernized, will reform the statistical programs and methods, work out more scientific and rational statistical standards and indicator system, and enhance the statistical governance framework for more efficient data collection, intelligent processing, forward-looking analysis, effective early warning, precise service, and standardized supervision. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to share Singapore's experience. I think the first thing we see ourselves is as a trusted player in providing data and statistics. Why do I say that? Because today's in the data ecosystem, there are so many players able to generate data and provide data. So we can just, for example, just go online and do an AI search and we get tons of data. So what differentiates NSOs today must go back to the original principle as a trusted. So just as the question implies, we must be a trusted player. This trust is very valuable. We must not allow it to be eroded. So we see ourselves firstly as a trusted player. And how do we do that? We must ensure that we safeguard confidentiality. Whatever that is given to us, we must safeguard the responder's data confidentiality. And secondly, we also need to strengthen our data governance to ensure there's a data quality. So maintaining trust is first and foremost the most important principle. Secondly, is to be relevant. How to be relevant? Today's our data users expect NSOs not just to provide official stats. They expect us to integrate data from everywhere, to be more granular, more timely. So we are expected to obtain data from all data sources, new data sources, not just rely on survey, but also on big data, administrative data, integrate them, ensure that of sufficient data quality and provide relevant, timely data to our data users. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, good morning. Thank you for your very, very relevant questions. So I'm not a head of a statistical national agency. So what I can think I can bring to the table is a perspective from the global south and from countries which we are working with, we as Paris 21. And let me just say thanks again. Congratulations to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, our latest new member in the Paris 21 partnership. So this is really fantastic. Now, I think your question on how we can support as Paris 21 digitalization, modernization, national statistical offices in the global south, what are the priorities? I see three main priorities for us, what we are currently doing. The first is we are trying to take stock of what is happening. I think many of us have said here, many things are currently happening in this world, specifically in the world of digitalization and AI. And we are trying to document this and to take stock, like taking a picture of what is happening now. So very concretely, Paris 21 has set up a task team on AI and data. And that task team is a membership task team, so they are members from the Paris 21 partnership. and very few international organizations. And that task team has started to work some 6-7 months ago and has started to do an inventory of all the things that are happening in those countries through the data value chain. I think AI, for instance, is happening on the data production side, but also on the analysis side and data use and impact. Which brings me to my second priority. Next to stock taking, we are looking at exciting pilots. I think that's also quite interesting. Just to pick a few pilots that are interesting to observe. I can maybe mention two here. One is a very interesting example in Rwanda. In Rwanda, where the National Statistical Office works with the Ministry of Gender Equality, and where the head of the ministry is now able to go to use a chatbot, a generative created chatbot, access their own data side from the National Statistical Office and get data much more quicker. So it's really the use of generative AI, of chatbots for ministries, but also later on for a wider public to make data that has been produced by the NSO to make it more accessible. And then the other example is Mongolia, as we sometimes say, counting the cows. There are so many cows in Mongolia, there are so many livestock, it's very costly to count them all. So how can we use geospatial data and AI to save costs, basically? And that is quite interesting. So these are just two examples of pilots that are interesting. And last but not least, and I close with this, is the third priority is basically capacity development. In reality, we sometimes think that all these new stuff, digitalization, modernization, it's all about infrastructure, it's all about technology, it's all about the latest hype. Well, it is, but it's also about basic stuff. It's about leadership, it's about change management. If you want to introduce, and I think you have given a couple of interesting examples from your national statistical offices, if you want to induce these new forms, you have to bring your staff along, because you have to have different skill sets. They have to do different things. So we are trying to support those processes as well through leadership training to make those change management smooth. So these are the three priorities from the PAIRS 21 side. Thank you.
Thank you to all. I really appreciate your input here, and Johannes is always welcome as to bring us the perspective of all regions as well, because of your engagement in different regions. And we can see the priorities are actually impacted by these changes. And I really appreciate how NSOs are trying to be relevant, more relevant to the things happening around us. And maybe I'll build on Johannes' point on AI. So technologies, as we mentioned, is changing. There's AI and other cloud computing and other elements that been introduced lately. How that will impact the future of NSOs. Things are changing around us. We're trying to be relevant. How is that actually impacting our future? Maybe to start with you, please. Thanks.
So we could be pro AI, we could be against AI, but we cannot without AI. So AI is something that we have to use, we must use. But I'm thinking, last week we celebrated 20 years of the European Code of Statistical Practice, which is describing 16 different principles and a lot of indicators how to measure the quality of statistics. And one of them is that the president of the NSI is responsible for the methodology that we are using. So in this changing world, we have to adapt our methodology to the new reality. I'll just give you one example. So from the beginning of this year, Bulgaria became a member of the Schengen, which means there is no border control between Bulgaria and two neighbors, Romania on the north and Greece on the south, which means that we are not able to use the traditional methods. And we must use a new one, like using data from a mobile telephone operators, to use data from the road infrastructure agency. But okay, this is the movement of the cars, the movement of the mobile phones, but it is not exactly the movement of the people. Because sometimes we could have more than one mobile phones, or if there are a little children there without mobile phones, and so on and so on. That's why we are trying to adopt this data to our surveys. Because this is a huge volume of data, we must use such kind of things like big data, machine learning, artificial intelligence, just to produce the data that we must do, like the movement of the people.
Thanks for this question. And in general, I like to challenge Johannes on a panel, but this time I cannot because I fully agree with him. That's a bit sad, but maybe we have another question. Maybe I can do now. Sometimes it's good to look back before doing the step forward. So this year, Switzerland, I mean, the statistical office in Switzerland have the birthday of 165 years. And in the past, we only had, I mean, statistical data sources. So we walked around and we were collecting information. In the 50s, we started to collect more administrative data. And then maybe in the 70s, we have access to other data sources like geospatial information, scanner data, for example, for the measuring inflation. And maybe now we're really at the point where we're on the next step. What to do, because the AI tools, AI is everywhere. And it was a very good example how AI can help. But it's not really a pro or con, it can help, and it's here. And maybe in my response, I want to focus a bit on one specific element. We talked also during these 2 days about it. It's about how can we make our data AI ready? I mean, how can the people find our information? It's very nice that we are walking around and say, hey, we need more money for data and statistics, but if the results, the information are not used finally, it's for nothing. The parliament will see after 5 years, hey, I gave you so much money, but I don't use it anymore because ChatGPT is producing anyway some kind of information. So that's why we have since 5 years a platform in Switzerland, like a metadata platform, where all the data standards or all the data are visible on one platform. The data are not on the platform. They're only like, we have a set about health information, and then you click on a link and you come to the right information. But we created now that also machines can do that. So we have it APIs, so the machine can ask about the health situation in Switzerland and say, okay, and then I find the right information. I know that a lot of countries are doing more or less the same, also international organizations. Then we saw there's a bit of lack on international level. That's why we created, together with some other actors, the Trusted Data Observatory. You can find it online. It's still a project, but it's the idea to bring all the trusted data, and we focus in the beginning on statistical information, statistical data, because they are harmonized, they follow some international rules, with the idea that the ChatGPTs, the LLMs, find the right information. You can try for sure how many people live in Saudi Arabia. I'm pretty sure there's not the right answer in there in a ChatGPT. But in the future, if ChatGPT goes via this platform to your office and finds the right information, then we can say our data are still be used. And to the last sentence here, Switzerland is currently the chair of the Statistical Commission with some others. We are working on that to bring in a resolution to the next session on exactly on this topic to make how to make our official data and statistics AI ready.
Thank you. I agree, actually. And from my perspective, I can say the scope of using AI in our NSOs are really, really very wide. But I think we need to stick to the rules, how we can get the advantage of utilizing AI in solving our problems in the matter of production. For example, I can give examples. We had, for example, the CPI, the Consumer Price Index. I mean, handling the quality check of the manual quality check for our staff in CPI. It used to take really days. Now it takes less than minutes. I mean, the quality validation of the work from the manual handling to digitized AI is really of great help. I may say another example also with trade statistics and the manual handling of the trade statistics and its disaggregation. It used to take really long cycle, and now it is actually in days. So that's how we can, the utilization of AI is so much important also to stay relevant. The second part of the utilization of AI, and that's from our experience, that it can be of great help in communicating and in engaging, and in the more utilization of data from one hand, and in more consistent of the disaggregation of data, and also I may say in the cost efficiency too. Thank you.
Thank you. With the background of new technologies such as AI and cloud computing and others, we believe that official statistics as the fundamental pillar for scientific decision-making and sustainable development is facing significant opportunities. The first, diversify the statistical products. In the big data era, data resources across society are experiencing explosive growth. All applicable and storable information, including numbers, text, graphics, images, audio, and video, is valuable resources for producing statistics. Besides the statistic produced from traditional sensors and surveys, we can also conduct multidimensional and real-time statistical analysis with big data. This will expand the scope, breadth, and the frequency of statistics. The second, transform the mode of statistical production. With the improvements in legal framework and updates in information technology, automated web scraping of big data and AI-based collection of raw data will gradually play the role of the primary and regular approach, just as the role of traditional surveys. This will enable deep integration of data collection, processing, and analysis, which will lead to a leap in the efficiency of statistical work and the data quality. The third, optimize human resources allocation in statistics. The automated and intelligent data collection, along with the intensive social production, will largely reduce labor-intensive tasks such as door-to-door interviews, manual form filling, and human review. As a result, statistical human resources will shift toward an inverted pyramid structure with less burden and local statistical agencies and survey respondents. Thank you.
Just like my Bulgarian colleague has shared, we cannot ignore AI and digitalization nowadays. So, and also as Johan has shared, we have to send our staff to learn, to understand, and how to harness AI. So that's one of the things we are doing, ensure that every staff understand what is AI and what are the dangers and what are the weaknesses. So hallucination, everybody knows, is one serious drawback. So we have to be careful whenever we want to use AI. So I would just maybe share two examples. One is the use of AI-enhanced optical character recognition in our latest household expenditure survey. Respondents sometimes they will just scribble on the forms what they spend on, and we are expected to understand what the different scribbling means. So with the use of this AI-enhanced optical character recognition, there is a score given. It can recognize the different styles of handwriting and try to pair with the relevant expenditure codes. And there's a confidence scores attached to it. So if the AI cannot tell with confidence, it will still go back to the data entry clerk. But most of the time where there's a certain confidence above, say, 90%, you will actually save on a lot of manual entry, saving on labor as well as any errors in data entry. So that's one example. Another example, earlier on, use of digitalization, many of us use internet web scraping. That reduces respondents' burden significantly. One area is to try to understand what are the characteristics of the various types of firms. Green firms is one area that we are exploring. How to identify green firms? Because if you go to the internet and you do internet web scraping, every firm will claim to be green. It may describe on its website lots of things that it's doing, but how to ensure that it's really a green firm? So we use AI and to try to understand the scores. We leverage on the vendor, the Amazon Web Services, to try to select a list of potential green firms. And after that, we have to verify that it is indeed. So we have to do pre-training of the data to ensure that these are likely to be green firms. And after that, we still have to send out of those that we have identified through various means, including newspaper reports and other sources. We will still need to send prelim survey forms to check whether they are actually doing green activities. So it's not a simple matter just to say use AI. We have to ensure that the data quality is there, because as I mentioned earlier, data quality is an essential element of what the NSO should produce. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Maybe I can just build on what our colleague just said. I mean, for us, the question is a little bit, is AI a curse or a blessing for NSOs in developing countries? Is it a curse or a blessing for poor countries? That's actually a quite interesting question, right? And if we step back for a second, I recall a conversation. I was at a research center. After my PhD, I worked on for a research center actually in Germany, and we had an own research program on ICT for development, information and communication technology for development. And at that time, the mobile phone came up. And the interesting question was, is the mobile phone contribute to more poverty or to poverty alleviation? Now, and there was a fierce debate in academia and with practitioners. Many people said, well, I mean, a mobile phone in poor country context, it can't work, there's no connectivity, it will not work, it will make people more poor. Who are already poor will even get poorer compared to others. In reality, that hasn't happened. I think the mobile phone in reality has helped many poor people to lift them out of poverty, because they got an information advantage. All the middlemen that were telling them the rice costs 50, but they could sell it for 100, they now sell it for 100. So the question for me is, can we have AI for the poor? That's a really interesting question. Can we make AI work for low-income countries, for low-income national statistical offices? And here is the link to what you were just saying, the quality data. Many data in our partner countries is obviously not of great quality in the sense of accessibility, reusable, interoperable. But maybe there is a saying, we can use AI for data or data for AI. I think many examples we have heard is data for AI, which has been there on machine learning for a very long time. But can we use AI for data? So unlock that data through AI in a quality form. So the modern term now is use AI readiness, make them AI readiness. So I think that's an interesting question. We could maybe continue to discuss a long time, but quite fascinating. I think in this, if we take the SDG agenda seriously, which was leave no one behind, we have to be focused also on the poor people in this world.
Thank you to all. And it's obvious that we're aware of AI, how that is going to impact our work as NSOs, and we need to either live with it, but we cannot ignore it. So this is, I think, what we do need to do in the future. And I think many of us already started using AI in our day-to-day work, and we heard a number of examples. And I couldn't agree more on the importance of learning from each other as well, because there are various experiences, and also there is different readiness between one NSO to another. And this takes me to my following question about the importance of advancing innovation in our NSOs. And what sort of partnership is actually helping us, whether it's regional, international, or maybe academia, private sector, public? How is your experience in sort of like utilizing whatever there from technologies and also innovative ideas into our day-to-day work in NSO?
So, as a president of NSI, I'm not just responsible for all of things that we do at the NSI, but we are responsible to input and output of the NSI. I'll just give you two examples. So years ago, we were responsible for collecting data, but now we are responsible for the quality of this data that we are using. Most of them are from privately held data, like, as I mentioned, the private companies, telecommunication, mobile telephone operator, web scraping, and so on. But what is the quality of this data? Is this out of our control? The answer probably is not. So we are responsible for the quality of that data. And we are responsible and the output from the NSI, how to use the data from different groups of users, including, first of all, the state administration. Are they using on the right way all the data that we are producing? Probably the answer is not fully. The next group is the academia, which is very important to have a very good cooperation with academia, because we are producing a lot of data that they are using for teaching, for research, and so on. And on the other side, all of our staff come from the universities. So we are responsible. What will be teaching at the universities? What are the programs at the universities? Are they relevant to that we are using? So that's why a good cooperation with all the groups is very important. Are they satisfied with our work? Are we producing all the important things that they are using? So the answer of this question is, we could find when we have a very good cooperation with all the users, especially, for example, the media, which is probably the most important channel how to reach the people. For example, during the beginning of this year, I was able to establish a new council with the National Representative Employers Organization, just to have a good cooperation with all the business in the country, which is on one side, they are providing data, but on the other side, they need statistical data for their work.
It's a question that's not that easy to answer, I have to say. As you maybe can see behind me, I'm in charge of international affairs, but also national affairs. And sometimes, looking back 10 years ago, the life was very easy. So we were a bit in our bubble. We knew who is producing official statistics. So we have a body on the federal level with 40 official producers. We have a body with the sub-national level, with the cantons, they call it. We have 26. So we invited all of them every 3 months for a meeting and having an exchange. How should you produce our official statistics? Of course, we have other bodies in our country where we talk with academia, we talk with data users. So it was quite nice. You have a good overview about that. And that was really focused on official statistics. And then I got the task 5 years ago to change our system, the stakeholder management system. So then we enlarged to data management and data science. But then at that moment, AI was around, but we were more talking about machine learning, but it's getting even a bit more complicated. And then again, in 2022, ChatGPT popped up, and now everyone wants to talk about data. That's a good thing, but it makes it really, really complicated. It's sometimes difficult to know who is our main stakeholder, who has a say, who is involved in that. So to come back on the Trusted Data Observatory, we call it the TDO. For that we have in Geneva, but we are enlarging it now. We have different fora where we talk to each other and to find out how can we work together and breaking out of the silos. We know that the WHO, for example, is doing a lot of good work in health, of course. That's why I had on Sunday a meeting with your health ministries to say what kind of data they provide to Geneva, to the WHO. What is the other ministries are doing to sending to the ILO, International Labour Organization. And we try to bridge this gap coming out of data silos, I would say, statistic silos, because there has to be an interoperability. At the end, it's always the question, how can we serve to the people to provide them good information as a very cost-efficient level? And we are convinced we have to do that. We have to talk with our users, with everyone who's on board. But again, it's getting more and more complicated because even more and more people sitting on around the fire pit. And if you're too many actors, it's also complicated to have a solution. So to close here, I'm really happy to have the UN World Data Forum next year here, because what we are talking about, I'm pretty sure that would be one of the 3-4 main discussions having in the next few years. And I'm really looking forward to having an outcome of that. How can we bring the different stakeholders to the fora, around the fire pit, to talk about how can we find a solution on that? And I'm pretty sure, as it was said before, there's some countries going that direction, some in the others, but we have to find a way together, because at the end, globalization, internet, and now artificial intelligence show we're sitting all on the same boat. And I'm pretty sure we're working, at least in this room, we work in the same direction. So looking forward for having more discussion on that. It will not end today.
Yeah, that was such a good and important question, because, I mean, we have so many players. I mean, whether we're talking about the region and the global, and sometimes the challenge is how the harmonization, I'm talking from our perspective as a national statistical organization within the region and on the global level, and how this, I mean, so many stakeholders, especially when I talk about on the regional level and global level, can harmonize the work and have such kind of complementary. The other thing, I mean, we can have so much best examples. I mean, I may say also on the local level, it's very much different when you talk about the local level and how you develop the stakeholders and the work with the stakeholders compared with the regional and the global level. I may say here that we have great best practices when it comes to our sisters organizations as sisters national statistical offices and cooperation together. And I may say, for example, one of my best practices developing the work within, for example, the AI on some of the topics, for example, trade statistics. It was really with the Statistics UK. It was, I mean, one of the best practices that we handled, and we succeeded to develop it further. But I may say sometimes the challenge is how to match your need with the right source of expertise from that perspective, and the leadership oversight of the priorities, the progress and follow-up is very much instrumental to deliver results. Thank you.
Thank you. From our experience, we think that there are 3 partnership models that has been most instrumental. The first is with academia. We have jointly established data development centers with the institutions to provide high-quality official macro data for academic research and build high-level think tanks. We have signed cooperation agreements with universities to jointly conduct theory research on financial statistics and undertake research projects on AI and big data application. In partnership with some universities, we have developed programs for cultivating high-level statisticians as human resources support for the application of the new statistical technologies. The second model is about with the private sector. We have incorporated provisions on leveraging social big data into the revision of the statistics law, providing a legal basis for further application of private sector data. We are also advancing institutional development of big data application and have formulated the statistical reporting program for platform economy and the survey program for headquarters-based and chain commercial enterprises. We have worked with leading domestic internet companies and the e-commerce platforms to use transaction data to supplement existing statistical surveys on production, consumption, energy, and prices. The third partnership model is with the international and the regional organizations. We successfully hosted the UN World Data Forum 2023, actively participated in the BRICS Statistical Cooperation Mechanism, and held the China-Asian Statistics Forum for 10 consecutive years. We maintain close cooperation with UNSD, IMF, World Bank, and other international organizations to stay aligned with the latest international standards. Under the China UN Trust Fund project for statistical capacity development, we have hosted international seminars on topics like big data applications in statistics and the national statistics quality assurance framework to support statistical capacity building in developing countries. We will learn from the experiences from other countries, and we will contribute a lot to the success to the UN World Data Forum 2026. Thank you.
Yeah, so in Singapore, we have stepped up engagement with all the different players. In terms of the academia, we learn from them about imaging technologies as well as various advanced analytics, including, say, privacy preservation techniques. In order to train our staff, we also send our staff to academia to undertake more advanced training. In terms of the private sector, they are the more innovative companies with different innovative solutions. So we have sent some of our staff for secondment to the leading private sector firms For example, Visa and Visa Card, Grab, transport company. These are well-known companies with many innovative solutions, and they will come back and contribute back to our department. So within our department, we have set up a digital transformation unit to help the different teams and divisions to apply all the different technologies, because not every staff is equally capable to apply AI. So this digital transformation unit will help the different officers to apply the advanced technologies in terms of global and regional cooperation. So at the regional level, ESCAP, the UN ESCAP in Asia Pacific organizes stats cafes, sharing sessions. So really useful, whichever NSO interested in, they just go online and learn and listen and share. Yeah. So through this, we get ideas how we can actually apply the different AI applications. At the global level, it's more of an international standard setting. So from there, we learn about the different standards where we have to apply and adopt. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you very much for this very, very interesting question about partnerships, and Paris 21 is a partnership. But I wanted to talk a bit about the examples of partnerships we see with our National Statistical Office with whom we work. And first of all, I'm very happy that my former panelists, Ola and Benjamin in particular, also mentioned the challenges of partnerships. I think you both pointed out it's not honeymoon and apple pie, because we often say, let's go for partnerships. I think we have to be realistic. I recall a conversation some 10 years ago with Pullinger, the DG of the UK, the former, and he said, look, I mean, the expectations we had some 10 years ago from a National Statistical Office to engage with the private sector haven't been fulfilling in many, many countries. It depends on the country context. It depends on laws and whatnot. But overall and on average, it hasn't come maybe as close for different reasons, because the incentive for the private sector is to make money. But the National Statistical Office is a public, it's an institution of a governance and produces a public good. So by that very nature, it's sometimes not so easy as it looks like, and one has to be realistic. The second one is with the academia. Again, I mean, lots of similarities, but even then, if you see how many academia and these relationships are working, I think it's an interesting question how we can do more about this. I wanted just to mention one other constitution of society, which hasn't been mentioned, which I believe personally there's more things to be done, and we have the DG from Kenya here, who can also speak authoritatively about this. This is with citizens. It's basically citizen science or citizen-generated data, local data coming from. And why does that matter? I believe that national statistical offices need to go beyond thinking that their product is only good for the government. It's for the whole society. And citizens it's the population, right? And if citizens are happy and see the value of what the NSO is doing, they will be happy to support elections and the parliamentarians and whatnot. And if I'm a citizen, I live in my little village, I see, where do I see things? I see things in education, I see things in sewage, I see things in public transport, I see things in security. So I want that the data that is produced at the local level reflects my reality. And that is something, I think, this reflected reality of people matching this up with what is published about the truth in society, that's a challenge. And here to think about partnerships with, in some or another way, with citizens groups could be interesting. Thank you.
Thank you to all. And I just remember for the audience, in the past 2 days, we hosted the 40th meeting of the high-level group for partnership, coordination, capacity building for statistics for the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. And many thanks for all attendants for their active participation, and many thanks also for the panelists. I believe we have some time left. If you allow me, maybe I'll talk a little bit to summarize and also talk a little bit about the Saudi experience. And please, if you'd like to add any more points, I think we still have time to discuss more. So things are changing, as we said, and I think in the past couple of years, things are changing. The speed of change is quite fast as compared before. And I always like this picture, at least not only things around us changing, even myself is changing. So this is before and after picture. Here in JSTAT, we, in the past couple of years, we had our institutional strategy, and we were focusing more on how we advance our technology, our infrastructure, and also to use multiple sources of data. Now we're discussing our new strategy. And AI is an important pillar of the new strategy. If you ask us 3 years ago, we wouldn't put it in our strategy. But today, you cannot ignore it, and I agree with you. I mean, we cannot ignore the fact that AI is there. We do need to benefit from the AI. In the past couple of years also, we invested in our statistics products. So we introduced using AI in a number of products to improve the quality of the work. So we started from how we collect data to help us ensure the quality of work, using satellite imaging, using Geo AI and other tools available to improve the quality of the work. We had actually a plan to make it easier for users as well, to use AI and use AI in our website and get the data and the statistics that they need. The difficulty, and I think we discussed this in the past couple of days and today, are statistics ready for AI or not? So this is, and this has been challenging because we thought about it from technology perspective, but we didn't think about it from a statistical perspective, and that's the challenge that we face. In Saudi Arabia, since the Vision 2030, there was an advancement and enablement for transparency and technology as well. So lots of technology changes happening here in the kingdom, and that helped us in building our registers, our admin records, our different sources of data. And now when the kingdom investing heavily in AI because of the importance and also the relevance for all of us. For the UN World Data Forum, and I'm really glad that you joined us today in this discussion, a key element for us not to have that event next year in Riyadh in November, and we just discussed the element and just leave the room. I think today we also discussed how we actually going to benefit, how we can implement whatever we discussed. And I agree with the discussion here. The partnership, especially in a regional level or a global level, how different countries can benefit from that discussion, and especially the availability of tools, expertise, and experiences, various experiences, etc. And that's why these discussions will be beneficial for everybody also to prepare themselves, and also for us. If you have any investment in these new technologies, it's important also to share the knowledge. And we've done it here in JSTAT, and we always welcome our colleagues from different NSOs here in the region to learn from our experience. At the same time, we do need to learn from others as well. Any other points you'd like to? Please, Benjamin.
Yeah, you mentioned your picture. So I also, I'm a bit older, but just 1 day. So it would be odd if it would look different hereafter. Sometimes everyone is getting older and we see that the world is changing, but sometimes we have to ask ourselves, maybe we are changing too as a person. We see elements different. Even the world maybe in some element didn't change, but it's us. I mean, sometimes it's good to know what kind of perspective we have on an issue. The question or the experience I'm doing at the moment is a bit in different ways. So we know what we saw also on the panel, the world is changing, that's for sure. It's not only us changing, as well the world is changing in technology, digitalization, and so on. The question I'm asking myself, and that's also linked to that what Johannes said about partnership is not always easy. There are people, they walking in another direction, and you mentioned public partnership. It's not that easy to work. There are big tech companies, they want to earn money. They want to have power about the data. We working for governments, we want to have a good data governance. I don't say that all tech companies are against that, but we have different interests. And we are now in the situation a bit that we are convinced we have to push forward this discussion. We have to talk about what's the future role of a National Statistical Office. And we know there are some actors in our community, they don't want to do that. They're really against that because they say, I'm protected behind my statistical law. I'm doing that since 100 years. I don't want to go out there. It's too dangerous. There's so many actors out there. I might lose my credibility. I might lose when I publish official statistics. I'm an active in the world of data that will harm my products. And that's a fair question. But then I'm really asking myself the question that comes back to the Statistical Commission. I mean, the multilateral level, you want World Data Forum. How should you do that? Should we have two different speeds? Some of the countries, they want to go forward, they want to do that. They say, no, let's working closer with tech companies and we leave the others a bit behind. Or should we wait that you bring everyone on board? There are two different speeds, two different ways. I do not have an answer at the moment, but that's for me a bit the burning platform, as a colleague would say, we have to talk about. And yeah, that's a bit what I'm dealing every day with, so it was my concern.
To be honest, I think that no one NSO is ready. But we have to be not afraid of that. And I'll give you just one example. Probably years ago, the most powerful organization was those that have a lot of resources. But nowadays, the thing is changing. The most powerful organization is this one that have a good cooperation with the rest. So in this case, we must have a good cooperation, first of all, at least between the National Statistical Institutes of the different countries. The second one, we must have a good cooperation with academia. And the third one, we must good cooperation with the leaders of the artificial intelligence in the world, like Microsoft, Google, and so on. So combining all these three things, I think soon we will be ready.
Thank you. For me, I see it's a learning journey. I mean, we're learning, we are developing, and we are getting use of how AI would be of help to our work. It's not the other way around on just using AI in the work randomly. It's at the end of the day, we don't have to forget that we are national statistical organization. Our focus on two perspectives. The first thing is actually the official statistics, but also the development of data. There's another point, I see Ben point that, how we started our role as national statistical offices just producing official statistics, and now our role has been changed, not only producing, it's actually leading the statistics and data ecosystem in the country. I also, the most important thing is to stay focused, know our needs, and stay relevant. And this is actually mainly, if I know my priorities, if I stay relevant, and I work on, leading, as a leading national statistical organization in the statistics and data ecosystem in our country, I think we'll be in the right path. So, that's my point. Thank you.
Thank you. We think that deep integration of new technologies into statistical work cannot be achieved overnight. Yeah, throughout this process, official statistical agencies will need to make a lot of efforts to promote data sharing, enhance the application of big data technologies to improve the statistical management system. My bureau is committed to strengthen exchanges and cooperation with the statistical counterpart of domestic and worldwide. We need to seize the historical opportunities brought by the rapid development of modern information technology and will strive to achieve the digital transformation of the statistical work. Thank you.
So again, thank you very much. Really appreciate this discussion, and I hope everybody learned from various experiences from our discussion today. And again, this is an open invitation to everybody to join us in the next events that happening almost every month until we reach the UN World Data Forum in Riyadh in 2026. And until then, see you soon, and thank you very much. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.